Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty. Well, as you know, this is a story that keeps on going because I have done some investigating, I have done some looking into, and I have done some snooping around because this is a topic that has taken on a new twist. Now, as you know, Debrat and her partner Judy have elected to have a baby via sperm donor. And as you know, they were saying things like there was a shortage of black men in which to choose viable sperm from. So I started to go online to investigate this, and I started seeing these headlines, such as Black Sperm Donor Statistics. According to the Genetic Literacy Project, only 1,000 applicants of all races make it through the screening process. So then it goes on to say others do, though. Here we have right here, we have a home health. Black sperm donor shortage impacts black mothers. Now, did you see that? It says home health. It says black sperm donor shortage impacts black mothers. Seems like you're trying to give a guilt trip to black men. So underneath that right then and there, it has a picture of a black woman with a biracial baby. So apparently what it's trying to say is that the lack of black male sperm donors is going to result into black women having biracial babies. Now we're going to get into this. And then as we go farther right here, we start seeing things like this here. America has a black sperm donor shortage. Black women are paying the price. That's a strange thing to say. Black women are paying the price. So you're trying to blame black men for the sperm shorter donage or donations, and black women are paying the price. It's almost like they're trying to sensationalize this. What type of price are they paying? I guess not having a baby. Now, I would be very reluctant to give my sperm, and the reason being is because with today's technology, you can give a vial, and they can expand that to like 100 times over. They can easily replicate and reproduce cells. And once you give your vial of sperm, you have no idea as to where it's going to go, how it's going to be used, who's going to use it for what. You just have absolutely no idea. And this whole notion that we're trying to make black men feel guilty by making crazy statements that there's a shorter donage. Now, there are about 24 sperm banks in the United States. Each operates independently and with minimal government oversight. So basically, these sperm donor banks are called cryobanks. And there's about 20 of them in the United States of America. However, we do know that if you are rich, that you can get around this easily. You do not have to rely on a sperm bank to give you a baby. So it's almost like they are trying to set a stage here for something. And we're going to get into what that something is. The best sperm bank donors in America, I guess. Yeah, California Cryobanks is our pick for best sperm donor bank. So I want to lay down some prices for you and to give you an idea as to how much does it cost. So this is a California bank. The prices range from about $1,000 to $1,200 per vial. And basically they're claiming they had 20 to 30 live births worldwide. So they had foreign women coming in also to utilize American sperm. Another sperm bank in Arizona, this was $695 to $1,700 per vial. Now they're claiming that they have about 25 births in the United States. Another bank reported that was the same one. Let's move on. Now, as you can clearly see, the price is not that much. Average cost $750 to $900 per vial. Family unit, they had about 25 births in the United States. And here's another here. Oh, 525 to 1,495. Unknown amount of births, so they don't really know. So as you can clearly see, the price is not that much. It is to a point where I guess even a single mother, obviously, who wanted a baby can afford this. But what I want to get into is what I touched on in other videos is that if you can afford a Bentley for your wife that costs $300,000, surely if you wanted to, you could have easily paid a black male athlete who is in the prime of his life, who is very intelligent, who's in college. You could have easily paid him $50,000, $75,000 for sperm, genetic testing, to test for diseases, to test for abnormalities. You could have easily paid him that if you truly wanted a black baby. And if you were to advertise that struggling college kids around the US, I'm willing to bet you $75,000, you probably could have gotten like 10,000 donors, potential donors, if you truly wanted a black baby. But let's dive into this notion about somehow there's a shortage. Okay, here's the problem with that theory. They're making a claim that out of one bank, and I've investigated this, out of one sperm bank, there was 782 vials of sperm. Out of that number, 12 were black. So if there's like 20 cryobanks in the United States of America, 12 times 20 would be like 220. So you have 220 sperm for women to pick up and to get inseminated. Now, you probably have with these sperm banks or insemination processes with black women, probably less than 1% of black women are even doing this, to be honest with you. So if 1% of black women are even doing this, how is there really a shortage? And keep one thing in mind, we're talking about black women of a certain age. Obviously, I'm not talking about anyone under the age of 18. So we're talking about anyone within a certain age range would be, I guess, 20 to 40. So that's going to be a very low number. With that very low number, I'm going to seriously doubt if there's really a shortage like they are claiming there is. It seems like to me that there is a recruitment that they are trying to do with black men. And you can clearly see by these headlines that they are trying to guilt trip black men into donating sperm. It's almost like there's a campaign to go out there into the community to get as many black men as we can to donate their sperm. So then the question would be is that what is it being used for? See, I'm not buying the whole notion that there's a shortage, and the reason why is because out of these so-called 20 cryobanks, guess what they used to come to this data right here that there is a shortage? They only used 4. They only used the data from 4 banks. Now, my question would be, what demographics were these banks in for you to come up with these particular numbers? And if you're going to broadcast this information about a shortage, you're going to broadcast it worldwide, why don't you do a more thorough research, such as at least do 10 banks, 10 to 15. That will be like the majority, as opposed to doing a very small number, 4 out of 20, and you're going to broadcast it worldwide. And many of these, what they're saying right here, comes from the Washington Post, Jeff Bezos' paper, the Washington Post, that he owns. So our information that we are getting about the low percentage donors of black men are coming from white outlets and white sources. It's coming from the dominant society. So basically, we truly do not know the numbers. We have no idea of the number of black men who are actually giving sperm. So we need to be very careful about these stats, these numbers that are being disseminated out there. We need to not be so quick to take it as fact. And we have to do our investigation and looking into these things. Because I don't really buy these numbers. And then, too, black men. Black men should not feel guilty or getting a guilt trip into donating sperm. It is not our responsibility to impregnate anyone. It is not our responsibility to give any part of our DNA, whether it be sperm, whether it be piss, whether it be hair, whether it be part of our fingernails, part of skin. That's our body, our choice. It's our DNA. It is not my responsibility because you want a baby to me supply you with that in any type of a way. So I don't understand this whole notion of them going with this guilt trip uh, worldwide thing that you're broadcasting. That somehow there's a shortage, and with this shortage right there, it's impacting black women, and it's almost like it's having black women to choose a biracial baby. That's not our fault. That's really not my problem. It's not the problem of any black man, because how many of them really want children? Some black men do not want children. So this whole notion of this campaign about a shortage, no, I think you want that DNA for something else. We know that the white race is dying. We know that by 2030, there'll be the minority in the United States of America. We know that by 2050, they will be a minority in Europe. So what exactly do you want the sperm for? I'm not trusting your intentions. I'm not trusting your motivations. Clearly, historically speaking, it has shown that it has been deviant and for devious means and purposes. So therefore, no, I do not believe that black men should feel guilty. They should not feel pressured into donating any part of their body. What's theirs is theirs. Regardless of the race of the female, if she cannot find viable sperm donors, not our fault, not our problem. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty, and I will see you all beyond and through.